What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? It is Steven here, aka Lord Big Head with the Catch. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into week 1 of the 2023 fantasy football season. And I am so pumped to have fantasy football back in my life. And if you are not already a part of the Catch fam, we really encourage you to hit that subscribe button and join the best community in all of fantasy football. And I would also encourage you to get in those comments and leave any questions you have so we can help set up your rosters ahead of every single week to make sure that your quarterback, your running back, your wide receiver, your tight end, kicker, defense is looking right so that you can dominate your matchups. But with all that said, let's get into it. Let's get into the must-start defenses. Up number 1, we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens, the 7th best defense last year for fantasy football, going up against the Houston Texans. I just think this is just too good to pass up for defenses, opportunities-wise. I mean, they're going to go up against C.J. Stroud and a really just lackluster, gross offense in Houston. I did not like what I saw at a CJ Stroud in the preseason. I thought he looked pretty bad comparative to the rest of the rookies. I think the skill group is extremely lacking. I think the offensive line has a lot to work to do. And I think this Baltimore Ravens defense is much improved and much more healthy than they were last year. Couple that with a much more dynamic, explosive offense, which is going to put this defense in a position to really just key off on a guy like CJ Stroud. I think there's going to be a ton of turnover opportunity here. I definitely think the Baltimore Ravens are an absolute smash play to defense. This is a great way to get a good head start on your competition in week 1 is to get a defense like the Baltimore Ravens who could be in for a big week. Up at number 2, we got the Washington Commanders going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who are practically an XFL team. This team is tanking. They clearly want Caleb Williams. They want to reset at Kyler Murray. They are ready to move on. And with that said, we're going to see some absolute trash at the quarterback position. There is nobody on this team that I am interested in at the skill position. I mean, even James Conner. I mean, I love the guy. I think he's an absolute beast. But come on, guys. This offense is going to be gross. And this Washington Commanders defense is the opposite of gross. This team is hungry. This defense is brutally, brutally strong up front. I mean, this defensive line led by Jonathan Allen and De'Aaron Payne, and you got Chase Young coming back healthy. You got Sweat coming off the side. I mean, this is just a scary defensive line that is going to absolutely dominate an Arizona Cardinals offensive line, which has struggled over recent years, and a quarterback group that it really just is best for a high school football field. I think it's going to be kind of comical to watch. I mean, this is one of the lowest over-under games. It's under 40 points. I think you're going to see some boring football be played, but I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of sack opportunities to get that level floor, and you're going to see a lot of playmaking from these corners in Washington, which I think are a lot better than advertised. I love this Washington defense. I think they're going to be a reoccurring team that is on these videos all throughout the year. One of my favorite defenses early on so far this year, and I think it starts now in week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. Number 3, it's the Seattle Seahawks going up against the Los Angeles Rams. I was kind of back and forth on this pick, and then the news came out about Cooper Kupp kind of taking a step back with his hamstring, and now on full send, right? I absolutely love the Seattle team offensively and defensively. I think they've just made so many good moves over the past couple of years to improve this defense. They're young, they're fast, they're hungry, they fly all over the field. They got Jamal Adams back in town too. You know, a couple years ago, he was one of the best safeties in the league. I mean, this is really a Legion of Boom potentially coming up over the next couple of years. This could be the next Legion of Boom, absolutely. And I think them going up against the Los Angeles Rams, which has one of the worst offensive lines, again, this is a recurring theme in today's video. We're exploiting bad offensive lines, and that's definitely what the Los Angeles Rams have. And their skill group might be worse than the other 2 teams we've talked about so far. I mean, with Cooper Kupp out, you're talking about Van Jefferson being the wide receiver 1 potentially. Matt Stafford is a hit away from retiring from football. Cam Akers, we'll see what he can do, right? But I am really scared for this Los Angeles Rams team if Cooper Kupp is not fresh. And I think that Seattle Seahawks are going to be able to absolutely swarm these guys. I think the over-under is a little bit murky here. We'll see if it really stays around that level. Right now it's showing around 47 points. I think it's still going to be a high-scoring game, but I don't think it matters. I think that the turnover opportunity is going to be there for sure. We saw this last year. I think it reoccurs this year too. And I think the Seattle Seahawks are an absolute smash play here against the Los Angeles Rams. And I'll definitely be streaming against the Rams going forward. depending on how this Cooper Cup injury shakes out. Up next, it is very sad to say this, but I've got to stream against my favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. I got to take the Jacksonville Jaguars here. They were number 6 last year. This was a defense that was really sneaky. Not a lot of people really, I think, gassed them up as much as they should have been gassed up. But this is a truly explosive defense led by Josh Allen coming off the edge. One of the best young rushers in the game right now. I think this Jags defense is good, and they're really good at coupling such a fantastic offense led by Trevor Lawrence, and hopefully Calvin Ridley can get back to his peak performance. I think this defense is going to be able to take advantage of AR-15 in his first game. Anthony Richardson might struggle, right? This receiving core is horrible. I mean, honestly, this has been one of my biggest complaints about the Colts over the past 3+ years is that the receiving core is so bad. This is about the worst situation you can bring a young quarterback who's raw into it. And I think you're going to see Anthony Richardson make a lot of mistakes his first week, which is expected, right? But now that Jonathan Taylor is also such a question mark, you're talking about a rookie and Evan Hull coming in, or you're talking about Deion Jackson or some random players getting the ball out of the running back position. I'm not too excited there, and I'm definitely not excited about any of the wide receivers or the tight ends, given that Jelani Woods is hurt. Bottom line, all these concerns are basically a full send for the Jacksonville Jaguars to stream against this Colts team. I think they're going to be a fantastic play. I can't get enough shares of the Jags against the Colts week 1. Unfortunately, I think the Colts are going to be a team we stream against all season long. And if you look at the theme here, we got Houston, we got Arizona, we got the Rams, and we got the Colts. And all of these groups have in common is they all have bad skill position players. And if you have a good defense like the Jacksonville Jaguars do, you've got to take advantage of that opportunity. So I definitely think you could put the Jags into your lineups. And I don't think they're going to get drafted a ton either, unless you got some sharp people in your drafts targeting good matchups. Last team I want to talk about here is the New Orleans Saints, number 15 last year, but honestly, just one of my favorite defenses in the league. Just speaking from a football perspective, I mean, what they do with Cam Jordan up front, and then on the back end with Marshawn Lattimore, I love what they do. They control both sides of the field so well in the defense. And when they are playing at home, which they are doing week 1, they just play differently. They get that crowd into it. They get really aggressive. They get nasty. And I don't know what to really expect quite yet from this Tennessee Titans team. So I'm willing to take a shot against them, right? I don't love Ryan Tannehill. I think he's definitely on the back half, if not the very last year of his career, right? I mean, guy was almost replaced by a dude who ate mayonnaise. But honestly, I think the Saints are a great play here. I think they're going to be good. They've been a very solid defense at getting, a very average score around 8 to 10. So they don't typically kill your fantasy team. But also, I think they've got great upside here, too, because if they can tee off on not one of the best offensive lines in the league with a guy like Cam Jordan going up against Ryan Tannehill, I think that's going to be pretty easy to happen. And I think Marshawn Lattimore is going to do fine at going up against DeAndre Hopkins. I don't really see a whole lot of concerns there for sure. And I mean, I'm not scared of Treylon Burks at all. So I think this is a good matchup for sure for the Saints. And I think it's a good pick to have because, guys, what I'm going to talk about next is absolutely delicious. All right, let's put the cherry on top of the cupcake and lick it up and eat it. All right, the next week. So this might be the best investment for your fantasy football drafts if you haven't done it yet, or to pick them up on waivers. The next couple weeks after this, it's gorgeous. You got Carolina, you got Green Bay, you got Tampa Bay, you got New England, you got Houston. This is defense that might be, depending on how things shake up. I mean, who knows? Maybe Baker Mayfield becomes the next Tom Brady. But this might be a defense that you can store on your team for the next 4 or 5 weeks and be mad. Absolutely must starts, guys. So go after the Saints, start on week 1, and know that you've got one of the best defenses for the next 4 or 5 weeks, matchup-wise. With that said, guys, this has been the must-start defenses for your fantasy football teams going into week 1 of the 2023 fantasy football season. I hope you enjoyed the content here. I hope you enjoyed these defenses. Hope they do wonders for your fantasy football team. Like I said at the beginning, really encourage you to hit that subscribe button below and join the best community in all of fantasy football. We here at The Catch do our best to make sure you win your championships. And also get in those comments too. Leave me any questions, anything like that, and I'll make sure to get in there and I'll do my best to get to you before the end of the week so that I can help you set up your teams, help you at the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense position so that you can dominate your opponents and you can make fun of them. Because that's what fantasy is all about, making fun of your friends and dominating at the end of the week. With that said, you saw it here first at The Catch.